So if I understand what your question is, you're saying all the technology, for example, that we have at our fingertips today is available to everyone. What is not available to everyone, Obehi, is the understanding of the voice.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started with this episode.
You have found your voice and you're using technology to get your message across. What I gather from what you're offering to society is a display of all the achievements, brilliant things that are happening with people, whether people of color or people who have just achieved stuff. You interview all different kinds of people, you share those across the diaspora. And so those who do tune in have different voices that may influence, ignite, trigger something inside them to want more, to want to be more of who they genuinely are. So yes, there is a side of the availability, but there is a side of, do I have my voice? Have I activated my voice? Do I believe in myself? Do I think I am worthy? There is a program that I became aware of recently that is called #I'mRemarkable. And when I participated in that, I met a lot of women who felt absolutely terrified of being able to say what it is that they are remarkable at. When they were actually brought to the point of just quickly, in say 2 minutes, write all the things you're remarkable, they sat and they thought and they pondered, and these are accomplished individuals, but they're not in a society that promotes you promoting yourself. It is probably regarded as being a little bit cocky, being a little bit of a show off, and so on. But we're finding in the job market that there are skilled people, but they're not necessarily getting the promotion. They're not necessarily getting the jobs because they're not self-promoting, because they have not unlocked their voice. And even though they're doing incredible work, even though they are making significant achievements, it is hardly being publicized in ways that benefit them, benefit other women, benefit their families, and so on. So yes, these things are available, technology, etc. Yes, the ideas are there, but have people unlocked their voice? And it will bring me back to what I'm saying. Coaching is one of those opportunities to find your voice. So now I know my identity. Now I know my purpose. How do I activate my voice and get this done? What are the different tasks? Not everyone will be, for example, on social media. Not everyone will be in the public's eye, but you can influence in different ways. Are you going to do that as a writer? That's a possibility. Find your voice as a writer. You influence as a writer. Are you going to do that as an early years educator, or what we call here, for example, in the UK, a childminder, where you take care of people's children while they are off at work, but the program that you offer are positively influencing children's minds, because that is what you enjoy doing. Children between, say, birth and 3 years old or whatever. People have unique ways of connecting, even with the smallest of the small, 0 to 3 years old. The idea is understanding self, figuring out what you're here to do, unlock your voice, and become the influencer that you're here for. Let me explain this. We are here, as I said before, to help each other. I can't treat a medical condition that I may have without the help of either a naturopath or a doctor. So I'm either going to go the route of the regular system, synthetic medication, for example, or I might choose to go the route of naturopathy and use nature, things within nature, herbs and things of the soil and so on. But I can't address my medical issue if I don't have that training, for example. So I need the doctor, okay? Or I need the naturopath. I need the teacher. I need the preacher. I need all these different people within society to impact and influence my life in a positive way somehow. Some of these things, many people are no longer exposed to. And some of what they're exposed to might not necessarily be things to unlock their voice because of how it is presented. You said, as a man thinks, so is he. We might be in a system that is downplaying thinking, because you change when you think and then act. Transformation comes through thinking and then taking action. You gain insight and then you move into action. No action, no transformation. So yes, we have all these things at our fingertips and we can design all these different things, but until you unlock your voice and begin to learn to use that as an influencer, whether you will write, whether you will blog, whether you will vlog, whether you will do a podcast, whether you will have something you present on social media, TV, Instagram, you need to know who you are, understand your message, and then go into unlocking your voice and taking action. So I work with high achievers who have what I call invisible roadblocks. There are some minds among us that are extremely creative, philosophical, visionary, high achievers. But it's like they're going around in circles and they're not really achieving the things that they can. It comes back to one of the things you mentioned, focus. For some, there's just so much going on in the mind. Their minds are so busy, so active, so creative, but they lack structure. So these things do not come to the table. They don't come to fruition because the structure might not be there. Procrastination might be taking over. Distractions become a big issue for them. Lack of skills or knowledge. How could I source funding for something I want to do? Different things like that. So my coaching brings solutions to high achievers who have invisible roadblocks and things like those invisible roadblocks, procrastination, lack of focus, things like those. So they have those issues and I work with them to identify the blocks that are there for them, the invisible blocks, and then work through attacking those so all the creativity inside them can come to the fore. Because I've also worked in refuges, working with women and children who have been negatively impacted by domestic violence and by emotional abuse and manipulation, I work with that demographic as well. So I find that I do have clients who come in because they also have invisible blocks. These invisible blocks come into play because of the domestic violence that they probably experienced as children or experienced in the home as a wife or as a husband or spouse of whatever gender. Okay. And so there are these beliefs, especially those around lack of worth. When you are in an environment, in a context, when there is that constant repeated message, whether it is through direct words or whether it is through behavior and actions that dumb someone, down and push them down, people can start having beliefs of lack of worth and lack of value and lack of confidence, etc. So individuals who have experienced emotional, that's a side I'm on more than physical abuse. Those who have experienced like emotional abuse, psychological manipulation, and it has wired certain thinking inside them. Many of these people basically freeze. They're going through life frozen. Yes, they're going to the supermarket and doing their shopping. Yes, they're having that conversation with someone if they get the chance outside. Yes, they're in high-flown positions. They are teachers, they are wives of politicians, they are husbands to some high-powered Nigerian bank woman, a bank manager. I'm just being cheeky now. But it's on both sides, it knows no gender, the psychological and mental abuse and manipulation. These individuals need to unwind from that. And that's a side of my work that I like as well. The neuroscience of understanding, how do I go into the nervous system, undo the messaging in the nervous system that has been wired into it. I'm so happy you brought up the book As a Man Thinketh, because the mind is malleable. It can take in these hidden messages. Yes, take in these hidden messages and begin to shape an individual. So it's beautiful when they go through the identity work and the purpose work, and they get to this place where they understand self better, so that, they can unwind, put it that way, in their psyche, in their psychological well-being, in their nervous system, and create a transformed identity, vision, understanding of who they are, and then rebuild their lives from that place.
Oh,
my audience,
that's great.
high achievers, and those who may have experienced emotional and psychological manipulation. Both of them will tend to have invisible blocks that are similar in some way, and then we can work through coaching to get them to a more productive place.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewanfo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.